We open on the Paramount logo. It fades into a mountain in Roswell as a bus drives by. The opening credits play as we see this bus. There's blacked out windows and people inside. We see the silhouette of Indy as he's stuck in a seat. The bus is driving out to the desert and the credits play. Indy's thrown out of the bus to examine something. Crashed metal. Indy's prepped with a gas mask. People in hazmat suits bring tools around the metal. A mysterious hum vibrates from the metal as tools stick to it. "This is highly magnetized," says Indy. "More than we have ever achieved." "This is incredible," he remarks. The hazmats grab something mysterious and shove it into a black box. They ship this box off to another truck. Indy examines the metal and it vibrates more. He hears bus noises in the distance and the cars drive off as we transition to the military vehicles entering the warehouse in 1957. It plays out the same as the movie, but, we actually fix the muzzle flares. Good lord. Until when they throw Indy and Mac out. Indy says, "We also make Mac a bit more likable, like Sala." Irina steps out and we get basically the same scenes until they find the box. They open the box, but we don't see what's in it. Indy then whips the gun out of a Russian soldier's hand and gives it to Mac as he turns on him. We get the whole escape scene and fight with Dovchenko until the rocket sled. It shoots away. Indy and Dovchenko come to a stop on the sled, and no! They do not see prairie dogs. Forget the prairie dogs. I don't even... Dovchenko hasn't fallen asleep because that's just too easy of an escape for Indy, and he fights, and he and Indy battle again. Indy wins by bashing him over the head with a metal slab from the sled. Indy limps away, but this battle is nothing like how it used to be. He's bruised, battered, and yet again has nothing to show for it. Yeah, but you'll never guess what scene's missing here. We transition to his classroom where he's teaching. He doesn't get fired because we don't have the government thinking Indy's a commie, because no. See, let's say it's spring break and Indy has the week off. He meets with the new dean, Charles Stanforth, at his house, where we get the scene of Indy reminiscing. He heads off to the train and we get Mutt's entrance, but no old man cracks. Maybe he just says professor. Look, we're going to try to make Mutt a bit more likable, because I think there was something to work with. Mutt goes to the diner with Indy and they talk about Ox. We get the same diner scene, but no Mutt yelling and being angry.
Shut up.
Mutt says his mom is captured and tells him to get to Indy to help. Indy doesn't know why his mom would want his help, but proceeds. We get the chase scene and it's basically the same, but we don't behead Marcus. He didn't deserve that. They go back to the house and get the Nazca Peru book in the scene, but with no...
For an old man, you ain't bad in a fight. What are you, 80?
We get the map scene, they go to the asylum, and the cemetery scene proceeds. It's basically the same... They go in and have the whole underground scene. They come out and get captured. They take them to the camp where they keep Mutt and Indy. We don't have Indy talking to Mac because it's kind of uneven when Spelko just takes her turn and walks right in, so we cut that. We start with Spelko coming in. We get her explanation scene, and she doesn't talk about the remains. Ox has lost his mind, and Indy sits in front of the skull. He punches Mac, and they bring out Marion. It's, I guess, a big reveal because it's kind of how they set it up.
A damn good, really good.
Get Ox about the Amazon rather than a drawing. They tie up Indy, Marion, and Mutt in the back seat of the jungle cutter. Now, I cut the quicksand scene because it basically does nothing. They escape, get stuck, escape, and get captured again. It's basically nothing, and the fear of snakes just isn't very maturely handled. So then we cut to the back of the truck. "Why did I have to get him to help us?" Mutt asks. Marion explains he's Mutt's father.
Not some school teacher.
No, sweetheart. Colin was your stepfather.
I want to hurt you. Oh, for the love of God. Shut the hell up.
Dovchenko gags them before he gets to Indy, and he jumps on him, taking him out in the back of the jungle cutter. They battle and get the big Indy versus Dovchenko fight, as Indy and Dovchenko are on the ground, while Marion and Mutt are in the jungle. This leaves Marion and Mutt to get out of the truck. Mutt cuts open the tarp and climbs through, being more and more like Indy. Marion and Mutt drive the cutter as Indy does his big fight with Dovchenko. It ends with Indy bashing him with a branch, and Dovchenko trips and falls off the cliff. Indy doubles back and steals a Russian water car, or duck, and drives up to the cutter. Mutt and Marion jump to the car and the chase ensues. It plays out like the movie but with no sword fight, and it ends at a crash as the ant scene happens. No monkey swing, but Spelko goes to fight Indy as they make for the river. They jump in the car and try to dive off, but they veer off course and land in the river. They only drop down one waterfall and venture through the woods, but they do not have Mac with them. It stays basically the same from here. They run through the natives to the temple, which allows Spelko to catch up with them. The commies protect Spelko and a battle breaks out, and the natives stop focusing on our main Indy gang and head to fight the Russians. Meanwhile, Spelko tries to get the skull, and Mutt gets a sword out of the Russian car, and a fight on the temple stairs ensues. As Mutt fights Spelko, he yells at them to go into the temple, and he'll take care of her. Indy hesitates, but the temple door shuts as Mutt is stuck outside and Indy is stuck inside the temple. The big fight with the natives continue and Mac gets knocked out. Spelko kicks Mutt into a nearby stream by the temple and he crashes in the water. She gets back to her army as Mutt is washed away. Inside, there's the stair scene, but without Mutt because he's now outside. We cut back to Mutt. He grabs onto a rock and hoists himself out of the stream. He's on a separate side of the temple that couldn't be reached from the front. He parts some branches in the overgrown bushes and sees a secret tunnel into the temple. He heads in. We get way more traps in the temples, and he guides the crew through the temple. We cut back to Mutt, and he ventures through the tunnel, where he runs into snakes. They're slithering through the tunnel, and he has to avoid them. He finds a torch on the wall, and he's able to light it with a lighter in his pocket. He walks through the tunnel as he studies the walls. Strange paintings adorn the walls that depict a god of some sort coming down from the clouds to greet the ancient people. Mutt recognizes how the skull they found is similar to the elongated head of the god. We cut to the Russians blowing a hole in the ancient temple as they walk in. Indy guides the team through more traps. This leads to the treasure room, where they use the skull to enter the throne room. They enter, and Mutt comes through another passageway. He runs up and hugs Marion as they marvel at all the skeletons. There's a bunch of skeletons, which one is missing its skull. Suddenly, a pickaxe rips through the wall as the Russians break in. It's basically the same scene, but instead of the skull flying to the body, the skull is placed on it. Spelko backs away as a mechanism triggers that places the skeleton into its place. The room starts vibrating and spinning as soldiers fly into the sky, screaming. Basically, I haven't been able to do much with Mac, but honestly, he was kind of hard character to rewrite, so the same scene unfolds with Mac's sacrifice. It's a big climax where the skeletons spin as knowledge floods Spelko's brain. It's too much for her to handle, and her head explodes as the rest of her body dissolves into nothing. And the crew escapes the temple. They get out like the movie as the water washes them out of the temple, and as the ground starts to shake, they all take cover, except Indy. He looks off as the temple collapses and the ground spins. It's implied something is coming, and Indy takes cover from falling rocks. A flash happens. Indy looks back as the waterfalls cave in and collapse on the temple. Same scene, but instead of, I don't know, why didn't you, Dad? Maybe it's, I will, Dad. Then, the same wedding scene at the end, but maybe have, Sala there or something, but without this, no. Just no. Why? Why did he do that? Ugh. And it plays out the same from there. So thank you for watching that. It is not as long and as in-depth as my last one, but this is just because I wanted to cover all the major points that I think could have been done better. I don't know if this is any better than the real movie. This is just my opinions. So feel free to tell me yours. Please like and subscribe. It would go a very long way. Very helpful for the channel. And maybe I'll do more of these pre-writes or rewrites. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.